Welcome to our morning meditation. I'm the Reverend Dr. William L. Johnson, the third palliative care chaplain here at Christian Hospital, and I am so happy to be able to share once more with you these words of inspiration and encouragement. As always, we want you to know that you are special to us, and as often as you are able to join with us in these meditative messages, we hope that they do exactly what they're designed to do, to inspire you and to encourage you along the way. It is our hope that you will realize and appreciate and hopefully embrace that you are loved, you are appreciated, and yes, indeed, you're irreplaceable. This morning's meditation is entitled Singing a New Song. Singing a New Song. Throughout my life, I have enjoyed music of almost every variety of every kind, every genre. I have discovered that music is the universal language that goes as far as communicating all of our emotions, no matter who we are or where we're from, no matter what age or what location. We discover that music has a way of motivating and moving our souls to a place where we are united and connected in one thing, that we could feel what it is that we're trying to articulate, what we cannot effectively always talk about, and what we cannot actually figure out on our own. And so music does that. And so to sing a new song means, in essence, to find a way to communicate our emotions in a different kind of way as we had before. Today's morning meditation speaks to that. And for the risk of being or sounding quite preachy, I beg your pardon and I offer this apology in advance. I often don't usually assign myself to a scripture or a text, even though I'm a preacher indeed, but I try to keep these messages general in order to reach a broader audience. However, this morning I want to speak to a couple of things. There is a psalm, Psalm 40, that offers us some tremendous words that I think would be encouraging to us right now. The psalmist writes a song. And for those of you who are familiar with the Psalms, we are aware that they were words put to music in order to express the desires, concerns, the challenges of a people who found themselves needing to express whatever it is that they were experiencing in their relationship with one another, in their relationship with the nations around them, and with their relationship with the one who was their creator. And so we, unlike them, are finding ourselves in places where it's important that we communicate and express what it is that we feel and how we feel about what's happening around us, what's happening in our close circle, or what's happening in the world, and what's happening with our relationship with our creator, God. So that the psalmist gives us these words and says this. It is attributed to David, King David, but it is one that I think is a universal message for all of us. The writer says, I waited patiently for the Lord, and he inclined his ear to me, and he heard my cry. He also brought me out of a horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock, and established my steps. He has put a new song in my mouth. Praise to our God. Many will see it and fear and will trust in the Lord. It's magnificent to see and to recognize that such a psalm, such a song, speaks of all these things that are happening in the life of the writer of this song. He says, in essence, I waited for God, and God inclined God's ear to me. God inclined and listened to me. I, am not always very good as unpacking these things, but I think this is important, that to wait on God, not on family, not on friends, not on the job, not on those who are our neighbors, not on those who are in charge of things in government or in the world, but to wait on God also calls for a certain amount of patience. And he says, I waited and I waited and I waited patiently upon God. And here's what I've discovered. that when we wait on God, God leans in. That's what it means to be inclined, to lean in favorably upon what it is that I'm asking, but I'm waiting for God. I have been looking to solve it on my own. I've been looking to make room for it on my own, to deal with it with my own devices, to be inclined to handle it in my own way. And some of us have done that. We've experienced life and we have been prone or had the proclivity to try to work things out on our own. In fact, that's kind of the way we learned it. You don't wait around and see how things are going to happen. You get in there, you make things happen. And maybe perhaps that works for some in some ways, for some things. But in other things, it's important to wait. And to wait on God gives God this sense that God knows that you are depending on your creator to solve the problem. And maybe that's where we are now, in a world in which we tried everything that we could. We've done everything that we know how to do, and we have put our hands to it and exhausted all of our options. And now it's really more important for us to wait, to lean in, to look with expectation for God to show up. And certainly the psalmist says God does, and incline God's ear to him. And then God did some other things. God changed some things around so that the psalmist could be able to appreciate more. He says, listen, he heard my cry and he brought me out of a horrible pit. And whatever the situation, whatever the circumstance, whatever the difficulty, whatever has you tied up, whatever has you perplexed, I am encouraging you to wait on God until God gets ready, and God will, as the psalmist says, will pull him as he does out of the horrible pit, out of the miry clay. In other words, out of a sticky situation. There are some things that if you try, and if you've done like I've done, you've tried to wrestle yourself out, climb your way out, only to discover that you make matters worse rather than better. And if you're in that kind of situation, I'm encouraging you to wait on God and to trust God and let God hear what your concern is, and trust that God will pull you out of the pit, out of the very difficult, sticky situation. The psalmist says this, and also God established my steps. I had to think about that one for a while. And it dawned on me that establishing our steps is not just simply telling us where to walk or giving us guidance to what to do the next day, to make sure that whatever we're doing is not wasted energy, not wasted on bad relationships, not wasted on bad adventures or those kind of things that we find ourselves feeling as if whatever we've done, then we wasted our time, our energy, our effort, all those things, and even sometimes our hearts on things that did not matter. But when God calls us and when we waited for God, those steps in which we take are established then, and they are not wasted, no matter how they look or no matter how they feel. And I don't know about you, but I've had the experience of thinking that whatever I was doing before really wasn't making a difference, only to discover that those steps were so integral, so important, so imperative that what I found is that I needed to take those steps to get to the place where I would be able to sing a new song, which brings us to verse 3 of Psalm 40. He has put a new song in my mouth, and I will praise God for it. Many will see it in fear and will trust in the Lord. Well, I'm not going to try to keep you long with this message, but what I do want to do is encourage you to be able to sing a new song. To sing a new song, infers that the old song is not working for us right now. The song that remembers all that went wrong, the song that records all of our failures, the song that comes up for us and says to us all of the ghosts of our past are chasing us down and we can't move forward. And for some of us, we've been in that place in our lives. We made some mistakes, or we've had some bad experiences, or had some really horrible memories of where we've been, and we thought we had outrun them, only to have those things creep up in our subconscious, creep up in our lives, creep up with words of other people or voices that echo all of the past things that have happened to us, or those people who would say you will never ever really escape what has happened in your life. And somehow a new song replaces the old song, the old dirge, the old song, the old memory, the old voice that says you can't, you won't, you shouldn't. And now it replaces it with a voice that says, and a song that says, you can, you will, and you ought to. In other words, enjoy and embrace the new life. To sing a new song means to live a new life in a new place with new people and new possibilities. That's the message today, that somehow God does hear us and moves us to a place where the new song is possible. You can't sing a new song if you've not gotten out of the miry clay or out of the horrible pit or out of the difficult, sticky situation. But when you get out, don't you dare, I'll say it again, don't you dare rehearse the old song as you're moving into your new life. I am encouraging you to live a new day. Every day is a new day. Yesterday was a rough day, perhaps, or the day before that, or the years before that. But every morning, sometimes one writer says, Paulo Coelho says, one of the challenges of people is that somehow we don't recognize that every day is a brand new day. And you are a brand new you. I know things happened yesterday and they look similar. Some of the same faces are around, some of the same situations are there. Sometimes we have to go to the same job, deal with the same people. However, the day is new and it's filled with new adventure if only you're capable of singing a new song. I want to encourage you, embrace the new song because you have a new life, because you're a new you, and it's a new day. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your week. Sing a new song. As the psalmist says, other people are listening. They're paying attention. And they just might hear you singing a new song and find a new song of their own to sing. How about that? Well, we want you to know you're loved, you're appreciated, and you're irreplaceable as we always do, and to be encouraged and inspired as you journey through your week. Have a great one. Thanks so much for giving us your time. Give us your feedback. Let us know what you think. And we want to let you know that we're thinking of you and you're in our thoughts and prayers as you journey through this week and through this day, singing a brand new song.